The massive alien ships appeared in Earth's skies on a quiet Tuesday morning. They hung over major cities like silver clouds, their engines humming with strange energy. The world held its breath. Ambassador Elena Chen stood on the prepared landing pad in Geneva, her heart racing despite her calm exterior. At 42, with 15 years of diplomatic experience, she had been chosen to represent humanity in this historic moment. But nothing had prepared her for this. "They're opening their doors," whispered her assistant, pointing at the smallest ship that now descended to the landing area. 3 tall, blue-skinned aliens emerged. Their leader stepped forward with 4 arms spread wide in what seemed like a peaceful gesture. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, "I am Zixnar, representative of the Galactic Council. We come in friendship to welcome you to the greater community of stars." Over the next week, the aliens shared amazing gifts. They offered cures for cancer, technology to clean Earth's polluted air, and engines that needed no fuel. World leaders smiled in countless photos with the council representatives. News channels called it humanity's greatest moment. Elena, however, noticed small problems. The aliens avoided certain questions. They requested unusual access to remote areas. Their smiles never reached their silver eyes. "Something isn't right," she told her team late one night. "Why do they need samples from our deepest minds? Why are they mapping our ocean floors?" Then reports began arriving on her desk. Unusual disappearances near alien research stations, strange lights over the Arctic, unauthorized drilling operations where no permission had been granted. When Elena accessed the data drives from one research outpost, she discovered the truth. The aliens had classified Earth as Resource Planet 3291 weeks before their arrival. Humans were listed as harvestable biological assets. The Galactic Council had done this many times before to other worlds. Elena confronted Zixnar with the evidence during a private meeting. "You've been quite thorough, Ambassador," Zixnar said, his friendly mask falling away. "Most species don't discover Protocol 47b until it's too late to resist." "The Earth will never accept," Elena began. Zixnar raised a device. "Perhaps a demonstration will help your leaders understand their position." 3 hours later, where New Zealand had stood, there was only churning ocean. Millions dead in an instant. "A regrettable necessity," Zixnar announced to horrified world leaders. "Sign our Treaty of Planetary Management, or we will select another population center." With no defense against the aliens' weapons, Earth's governments surrendered. Council officials moved into capitals worldwide. Alien corporations began strip mining operations across the globe. That night, Elena's apartment exploded in flames. Officials reported her death, another tragedy in a day of sorrows. But in a maintenance tunnel beneath Geneva, Elena Chen clutched a stolen data core to her chest. Her face was streaked with blood and soot, but her eyes burned with determination. "This isn't over," she whispered, heading deeper into the darkness. Not by a long shot. 5 years passed. Earth had changed. Alien towers now stood in every city. Council ships took Earth's minerals and water to other worlds. Humans worked in mines and farms, always watched by alien guards with powerful weapons. Deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains, Colonel Marcus Reed studied a map spread across a metal table. At 50 years old, with gray hair and a scar across his face, he had once led America's best soldiers. Now he led something else. "The Council's supply trucks come through this valley every Tuesday," he said to the 30 men and women gathered around him. "We hit them fast, take what we can, and disappear before their air support arrives." The underground room was one of many hidden bases, old military bunkers, forgotten mines, and natural caves had become homes to the resistance. Thousands of humans who refused to accept alien rule lived in these dark places, planning and waiting. "Sir," called a young woman operating a radio. "Team 7 reports they've intercepted a prison transport. They're bringing in survivors." Marcus nodded. Prison transports meant humans who had broken council laws. Some were thieves or troublemakers, but others were people who had spoken against the aliens or tried to organize workers. Either way, they were potential allies. Hours later, the rescue team returned with 12 prisoners. Most were thin and weak after months in council labor camps. But one woman, though barely conscious, caught Marcus's attention. "Get the doctor," he ordered, kneeling beside her. "This is Ambassador Chen." Everyone knew Elena Chen's name. The official story was that she had died the night the aliens took control, but rumors had spread that she had escaped with secret information. 3 days later, Elena woke up in the medical section. When Marcus entered, she tried to sit up. "Easy," he said. "You've been through a lot." 5 years, she whispered. "They kept me alive for questioning. They wanted to know who I'd shared their secrets with." Marcus offered her water. "And did you share their secrets?" Elena's hands shook as she took the cup. "No, because I never got the chance. But I memorized everything on that data core before they caught me." She tapped her head. "It's all still here." Over the next few hours, Elena revealed what she had learned. The Council, made up of 7 major alien species, had conquered hundreds of worlds. But internal reports showed they feared humans. "They call us dangerously unpredictable," Elena explained. "Our minds adapt too quickly. We solve problems in ways they don't expect." Marcus smiled for the first time in years. "They're right to be afraid." Elena pointed to the maps on the wall. "You've been fighting small battles, staying hidden. But I know their weaknesses now. Their communication systems, their command structure." She stood up, still weak, but with fire in her eyes. "We need to show the world that resistance is possible. We need to broadcast the truth about the Council to every human on Earth." Marcus nodded slowly. "And how do we do that?" Elena smiled. "We start by taking over their main communication hub in what used to be Chicago." Dr. Sanjay Patel wiped sweat from his forehead as he worked inside the Council's Geneva research facility. The aliens watched him closely, but not closely enough. For 3 years, he had pretended to help them study Earth technology while secretly learning theirs. Today, while his alien supervisor was distracted, Sanjay pressed a small device hidden under his workstation. A signal traveled through Earth's old internet cables, reaching resistance bases around the world. The Prometheus protocol was now active. In the Appalachian base, a computer beeped. Marcus and Elena rushed over to see a message appearing on the screen. "Connection established. Prometheus online." "It worked," Elena whispered. "Sanjay did it." The Prometheus protocol was a secret communication system that connected resistance cells worldwide. For the first time, humans fighting the aliens could share information instantly and safely. Messages began flowing in from around the world. Resistance groups in Brazil, Kenya, China, and dozens of other countries checked in. They were smaller than Marcus had hoped, but they existed. "We're not alone anymore," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. Meanwhile, Sanjay sent his most important discovery. Council species affected by radiation frequency 147.8 mH causes extreme discomfort but harmless to humans. Testing confirms. Elena's eyes widened. A weapon that hurts them, but not us. Marcus immediately ordered his engineers to modify their radio equipment to broadcast at this frequency. If it worked, they would have their first effective defense against the aliens. 3 days later, Marcus led 20 fighters to a Council weapons depot outside the ruins of Baltimore. They carried the modified radios strapped to their backs. "Remember," Marcus told them, "these won't kill the aliens, but they should make them too sick to fight. We go in, take what we can carry, and leave. No heroics." The raid began at midnight. When the guards spotted them, Marcus activated the radios. The effect was immediate. The blue-skinned aliens dropped to their knees, clutching their heads in pain. Some vomited a silver fluid. The humans rushed in, gathering energy weapons, communication devices, and a small Council shuttle. They were loading the last items when alarms blared across the compound. "Time's up," Marcus shouted. Everyone out. They escaped just before reinforcements arrived, disappearing into the forests with their stolen technology. The next morning, the Council responded. On public screens across Earth, they executed 10 captured resistance members. The message was clear: resist and die. Marcus watched the executions from the base, his face hard. Then he turned to Elena. Now we hit them back. Show them we won't be intimidated. Over the next week, resistance cells used their new weapons to strike Council facilities worldwide. Power stations exploded. Supply depots burned. Communication towers fell. The aliens responded with brute force, bombing suspected resistance areas. But for every human they killed, 3 more joined the fight. In his private chambers, Zixnar watched reports of the attacks with growing concern. No species had ever fought back so effectively after conquest. Humans were supposed to be broken by now. Instead, they were becoming more dangerous. He opened a direct channel to the Council. We may need to implement final measures on Earth. Elena stood on the deck of a small fishing boat as it rocked on the Pacific Ocean. The night was dark with no moon, perfect for their secret mission. 12 resistance fighters accompanied her, each chosen for their special skills. "We're approaching the Mariana Trench," said Captain Lai, an old sailor who had joined the resistance after the aliens killed his family. "The deepest place on Earth." Elena nodded. During her time as a prisoner, she had overheard the aliens talking about something hidden in the ocean depths, something they feared. "Take us to these coordinates," she said, handing the captain a paper with numbers. "And prepare the submersible." The small submarine could only hold 3 people: Elena, a scientist named Dr. Reeves, and a former Navy SEAL named Jackson climbed inside. The others would wait on the boat, watching for Council patrols. As they descended into the darkness, pressure built around them. At 30,000 feet below the surface, their lights revealed a strange structure on the ocean floor. It wasn't made of metal or stone, but seemed to be alive, pulsing with faint blue light. "What is that?" whispered Jackson. Before Elena could answer, something massive moved in the darkness. Tentacles as thick as trees wrapped around the submersible. The craft spun as they were pulled toward the structure. "Don't fight it," Elena ordered as Jackson reached for a weapon. "We came to talk." Inside the structure, their submersible was placed in a chamber that drained of water. The door opened, and they stepped out into a breathable atmosphere. Before them stood creatures unlike anything they had seen before. They had bodies like octopuses but stood upright on 4 tentacles. Their skin changed colors as they communicated with each other. The largest stepped forward, skin flashing blue and green. "Why do surface dwellers enter our domain?" The voice came not through air, but directly into their minds. "We seek allies against the Council," Elena said. "The aliens who have taken our world." The creature's skin turned dark red. "The destroyers. They hunted us across the stars. We fled here thousands of years ago, hiding in the deep where their sensors cannot reach." "You're not from Earth?" Dr. Reeves asked in shock. "We are Nexeri. The Council destroyed our homeworld when we refused to submit. We are the last of our kind." Elena stepped forward. "Then we share an enemy. Help us fight them." The Nexeri's skin rippled with colors. "We have hidden for centuries. Why should we risk extinction again?" Elena showed them images of Earth's destruction, the mines, the labor camps. "Because they won't stop with humanity. Eventually, they'll find you too." After hours of discussion, the Nexeri agreed to help. They revealed their advanced biotechnology, including weapons that could disable Council ships and communication systems that could not be detected. "There is something else," the Nexeri leader said. "The Council's power depends on a central network. Disrupt it, and their forces will be thrown into confusion." As Elena and her team prepared to return to the surface with samples of Nexeri technology, alarms sounded. A Council patrol had found their boat. "We must hurry," Elena said. "If we're caught." The lead Nexeri touched her arm with a gentle tentacle. "You will not face them alone anymore." As they reached the surface, they saw their boat engaged in battle with a council ship. But from the depths, massive tentacles rose up, wrapping around the alien vessel and dragging it under the waves. Elena smiled grimly. The real war begins now. Marcus studied the holographic map that Dr. Patel had created. It showed 7 red dots spread across the globe, the Council's main communication relays. These stations connected the alien forces on Earth with their fleet in orbit and their homeworlds beyond. If we take these out simultaneously, Marcus explained to the resistance leaders gathered around the table, we can blind and confuse their forces for at least 12 hours. Elena nodded. The Nexari technology will help us get past their security. Their bio-cloaking can hide us from Council sensors. The plan was named Operation Ghost Blade. 7 teams would strike at exactly the same time. Marcus would lead the attack on the largest relay in former Australia. Elena would coordinate from the base. Dr. Patel had created special devices that would not just destroy the relays, but scramble their systems beyond repair. 2 days later, as the sun set over the Pacific, Marcus's team approached the Australian relay station. Each fighter wore a thin layer of Nexari biomaterial that bent light around them, making them nearly invisible. The substance felt cold and wet against their skin, but was worth the discomfort. Remember, Marcus whispered to his team, we have 30 minutes to place the devices and get out. Stay silent, stay invisible. They slipped past the alien guards like ghosts. Inside, they moved through corridors filled with council workers, placing small disc-shaped devices at key points. Marcus reached the central control room and placed the final device beside the main computer. As he turned to leave, a young council worker bumped directly into him. The biocloak wavered, revealing Marcus for a split second. Alarms blared instantly. Move. Now, Marcus shouted, abandoning stealth. Across the globe, the other teams faced similar complications. In Russia, an entire team was trapped inside their target. In Brazil, half the team was killed during extraction. But one by one, the devices activated. The effects were immediate and catastrophic for the Council. Their communications collapsed. Their ships in orbit lost contact with ground forces. Chaos spread through their ranks. But the victory came at a terrible price. Only half of the resistance fighters made it back to their bases, and Marcus was hit by alien fire as his team escaped. The energy weapon burned through his chest, leaving him barely alive. The Council's response was swift and brutal. Unable to locate the resistance bases, they bombarded suspected human strongholds from orbit. Thousands of innocent civilians died as cities burned. In the medical section of the Appalachian base, Elena sat beside Marcus's bed. The doctors had done what they could, but he remained unconscious, his chest covered in bandages. The Council is bombing civilian areas, Dr. Puddle reported, his voice heavy. They're punishing everyone for our actions. Elena's hands formed fists. Make sure our cameras capture everything. Broadcast the images to every screen we can access. Let the world see their true nature. As the death toll mounted, something unexpected happened. Humans who had accepted alien rule began fighting back. Workers sabotaged council factories. Farmers hid food from alien collectors. And most surprisingly, junior officers in the council fleet began questioning their commander's orders to target civilians. We're seeing breaks in their chain of command, Elena told her advisors. The council is starting to fracture from within. As she spoke, Marcus finally opened his eyes. Though weak, he managed to whisper, "What's next?" Elena smiled grimly. "We take the fight to space." Dr. Paddle stood in a large underground hangar, surrounded by his greatest creation. 7 massive machines towered over the workers. They looked like giant metal humans, with arms, legs, and a cockpit where the chest would be. "The mechs are ready," he told Elena as she entered the hangar. "We combined council technology with human design. They're built for our gravity and our way of thinking." Elena walked around one of the machines, amazed by its size and power. Can they operate in space? For short periods, yes, Dr. Patel nodded. But they're not designed for deep space travel. Elena smiled. They don't need to be. Just get us to the moon. The plan was bold. Council records had revealed abandoned mining facilities on the dark side of the moon. If the Resistance could reach these facilities, they could establish a base beyond the Council's immediate control. Marcus, still weak from his injuries, but refusing to stay behind, joined the planning sessions. We need to modify the Council shuttle we captured, he said. It can carry 2 mechs at a time, but the Council will detect the launch. Then we need a distraction, Elena said. Something big enough to draw their attention elsewhere. The Resistance contacted their cell in Madrid, Spain. It was a suicide mission, and everyone knew it. The Madrid fighters would attack the Council headquarters in the city, drawing enemy forces away from their scanners long enough for the shuttle to escape Earth's atmosphere. 3 days later, as explosions rocked Madrid, the modified shuttle blasted off from a hidden launch site in the Amazon jungle. Council ships raced to defend their headquarters, missing the small craft as it slipped into space. The journey to the moon took 17 hours. The shuttle landed near a massive crater on the dark side, away from Earth and Council eyes. Inside the mechs, 4 Resistance pilots stepped onto lunar soil. Robotic workers, reprogrammed by Dr. Patel, began preparing the abandoned mining facility. Over the next week, the shuttle made 3 more trips, bringing additional mechs, equipment, and personnel. The lunar base slowly came to life. Solar panels deployed across the gray landscape. Communication arrays pointed toward Earth. Weapons systems, combining Council technology with Nexiri bioweapons, stood ready. Then the Council found them. 3 alien warships appeared over the crater, their weapons charging. The Council had tracked the shuttle on its final trip. Activate all defenses, Marcus ordered from the control room. Pilots to your mechs. The battle for the moon began with a barrage of energy fire from the Council ships. The base's shields, created with Nexiri technology, absorbed the first wave. Then the human-piloted mechs launched from hidden bays. Moving with surprising speed in the low gravity, the mechs attacked the alien ships from multiple angles. Council weapons were designed to hit other ships, not small, fast-moving targets. The mechs tore into the first warship, planting explosive charges along its hull. As the ship exploded, the shockwave damaged the second. The third tried to retreat, but a mech pilot named Rodriguez managed to breach its engine room. Instead of destroying it, he captured the bridge. When the battle ended, the Resistance had lost 2 mechs and their pilots, but they had destroyed 2 Council warships and captured a third. More importantly, they now had a foothold beyond Earth and access to genuine Council space technology. In the captured ship, they found something unexpected. Communication logs showing growing unrest within the Council itself. While the Resistance fought on the moon, Dr. Patel focused on Geneva, the Council's headquarters on Earth. For months, he had secretly organized workers inside the massive alien complex. Cooks, cleaners, maintenance staff. Humans the aliens considered too unimportant to watch closely. Tomorrow, Dr. Patel whispered to Anna, a kitchen worker who helped lead the secret network. When the signal comes, be ready. The plan was simple but dangerous. Thousands of human workers would rise up at exactly the same time, attacking critical systems throughout the headquarters. They had hidden weapons in air ducts, behind walls, and under floorboards. They had memorized maps of security stations and power nodes. The signal came at noon. A special tone played through the Prometheus communication system that only humans could hear. The Geneva uprising began with a series of small explosions in the power grid. As lights flickered, human workers grabbed their hidden weapons. Council security forces responded quickly, but they didn't expect attacks from inside their own kitchens, maintenance tunnels, and cleaning closets. Ordinary humans fought with whatever they had: kitchen knives, tools, and a few stolen alien weapons. Dr. Patel led a team through service corridors toward the main communication center. Remember, he told his fighters, We only need to hold it for 30 minutes, just long enough for Elena's broadcast. The battle for Geneva turned the streets red with blood, both human and alien. Council forces fired into crowds of workers. Humans used their knowledge of the city to ambush alien patrols. Buildings burned as fighting spread beyond the headquarters. In the communication center, Dr. Patel's team fought room by room, losing people with each door they breached. Finally, they reached the main broadcast chamber. Only 6 humans remained from the original 20. "Secure the door," Dr. Patel ordered as he worked on the controls. He connected a small device Elena had given him, containing files from her time as a prisoner. Uploading now. Across Earth, and even to ships in orbit, every Council communication screen suddenly showed the same images. Council scientists performing experiments on living humans. Records of planets stripped of resources and species eliminated. Secret plans for processing most of Earth's population once resources were fully extracted. The broadcast lasted 28 minutes before Council forces broke through to the communication center. Dr. Patel was the last alive, fighting until energy blasts finally cut him down. But the damage was done. The truth had been seen by everyone, including Council soldiers and workers. On 3 Council ships, minor species officers locked up their commanders and declared they would no longer participate in Earth's occupation. Several Council research facilities reported similar mutinies. In the lunar base, Elena received reports of the Geneva battle with tears in her eyes. "Sanjay gave us what we needed," she told Marcus. "The Council is fracturing." Marcus nodded grimly. "But the cost. Geneva is in ruins. Thousands dead." "This is just the beginning," Elena said. "The Council leaders will be calling an emergency session now. And that's where we strike next." Marcus looked surprised. "The Council capital. That's on the other side of the galaxy." Elena smiled. "Not anymore. The Nexari just decoded the navigation systems on our captured ship. We know exactly where it is now." On a distant planet called Zentrix, the Galactic Council gathered in an enormous crystal dome. Representatives from 37 spacefaring species sat in rising circles around a central platform. The emergency session had been called to address one problem: Earth. Zixnar stood on the platform, his blue skin darkened with anger. "Humans have destroyed our communication network, attacked our forces, and turned some of our own against us." His 4 arms gestured wildly. "We must eliminate this threat completely. Destroy their planet now, before they cause more damage." Murmurs spread through the chamber. A tall, green-skinned alien stood. "Representative Zixnar, your methods on Earth violated our own conquest protocols. The evidence broadcast from Geneva shows your species performed unauthorized experiments on humans. They are primitive animals," Zixnar shouted. "All resources belong to the Council. All lesser species serve us. That is our law." More representatives stood, arguing among themselves. Some supported Zixnar, while others called for an investigation. The Council was splitting into factions. Unknown to them, a small ship had arrived at Zentrix 2 days earlier. It carried Marcus, Elena, and 3 Nexari who could move through water systems undetected. Using maps from the captured Council warship, they had infiltrated the massive building through maintenance tunnels. Now they hid in a service area beneath the Council chamber, listening to the debate above. "They're arguing about whether to destroy Earth," Elena whispered, hearing the translation through a stolen Council device. Marcus, his chest still bandaged from his wounds, checked his weapons. "Then we need to move faster." He turned to the Nexari. "Can you access their broadcast system from here?" The lead Nexari, who had taken the human name Wave, extended a tentacle toward a control panel. "Yes, but their security will detect us within minutes." "That's all we need," Marcus said. Inside the Council chamber, the debate continued until the lights suddenly flickered. The central platform's display screen changed, showing classified Council documents. "What is this?" demanded Zixnar. Elena's voice filled the chamber. "This is the truth you've hidden from your own people. Your secret directive to eventually harvest all species for the benefit of the 7 founding council races. The screen showed plans for processing not just humans, but dozens of other species the council claimed to protect. Many representatives gasped in shock. "These are fabrications," Zix-Nar shouted, but his voice wavered. "We found these in your own secure databases," Alina continued. "The founding races plan to outlive you all. They see every world, every species as simply resources to be used and discarded." Chaos erupted in the chamber. Representatives from minor species confronted the founding races. Security forces tried to shut down the broadcast, but couldn't find its source. A tall purple alien stood and raised her voice above the chaos. "I withdraw the Phylaxian systems from the council. We will no longer participate in this corruption." Others followed. One by one, nearly half the council members denounced the leadership and declared independence. As security forces finally located the broadcast source, Marcus, Alina, and the Nexeri escaped through water pipes to their hidden ship. "It worked," Alina said as they lifted off. "The council is tearing itself apart." Marcus nodded grimly. "But Zix-Nar is still in power, and now he has nothing to lose." Their ship accelerated away from Zentrix, racing back toward Earth. Behind them, the first shots of a council civil war were already being fired. Alina stood before the combined forces of the resistance, humans, Nexeri, and representatives from 5 alien species that had broken away from the council. Their fleet of 20 ships, most captured from council forces, orbited the moon. "Intelligence confirms that Zix-Nar has gathered his remaining loyal forces," Alina announced. "They have a hidden base on Mars that they built years ago without telling anyone. They're preparing to attack Earth with everything they have." Marcus, standing beside her with a cane supporting his damaged leg, pointed to the holographic display. "This is Operation Nemesis, our first full-scale offensive against the Council." The plan was daring. The Allied fleet would launch a direct assault on the Mars base, while Special Forces teams infiltrated key facilities. The Nexeri had adapted their biotechnology to create weapons specifically designed to target Council systems. The day of the attack came quickly. The Allied fleet jumped into Mars orbit, immediately engaging the Council defenses. Energy beams crisscrossed the blackness of space. Ships exploded in silent bursts of light and debris. Marcus led the ground assault, piloting the lead mech despite his injuries. 50 fighters in mechs and smaller craft landed on the red planet's surface near the hidden base. Council defenders swarmed out to meet them. "Push forward," Marcus ordered as his mech fired energy blasts at enemy positions. "We need to reach the Central Command." The battle was brutal. Human and alien allies fell together under Council fire. The sand of Mars turned dark with blood of many colors. Marcus's forces were pushed back, trapped in a narrow canyon with Council forces closing in from all sides. "We can't hold much longer," reported a Nexeri commander, her tentacles working controls adapted for her species. In orbit, Alina watched the battle with growing concern. "The ground team is pinned down. They can't reach the objective." A message arrived from Earth, from a laboratory where scientists had continued Dr. Patel's work. They had completed his final project. Nanite swarms programmed to target Council command systems. "Deploy the nanites," Alina ordered. "All ships, concentrate fire on their northeastern defenses to create opening." Canisters of the microscopic machines were fired into the Martian atmosphere above the battlefield. They rained down, invisible to the naked eye, infiltrating Council armor and weapons. The tiny machines sought out the neural implants that all Council commanders used to control their forces. The effect was immediate and devastating. Council officers began giving random orders or stopped responding entirely. Their coordinated defense collapsed into chaos. Some fired on their own troops in confusion. Marcus led his remaining forces through the gap, fighting their way to the Central Command bunker. Inside, they found Zix-Nar surrounded by his elite guards. "Your rebellion ends here," Zix-Nar snarled, raising an energy weapon. The battle was short but violent. Marcus lost more fighters, but they overwhelmed the defenders through sheer determination. Zixnar fell back, wounded but not defeated. As Marcus's team secured the command center, they found Zixnar had escaped through a hidden passage. Worse, one of the Nexari discovered a countdown on a central computer. He's activated some kind of weapon, the Nexari reported. It's aimed at Earth. Marcus stared at the alien symbols flashing on the screen. Tell Alina, Zixnar isn't just trying to defeat us anymore. He's going to destroy the entire planet. Elena stared at the message from Mars with horror. Zixnar has activated a gravitational distortion device. It will tear Earth apart from the inside. Scans showed the weapon had been buried beneath the Pacific Ocean years ago, waiting for this moment. It was already powering up, causing small earthquakes across the Pacific Rim. Tsunami warnings blared in coastal cities worldwide. How long do we have? Asked a Phylaxian captain, her purple skin pale with concern. 3 hours before it reaches full power, Elena replied. Then Earth's crust will break apart completely. On Mars, Marcus gathered his remaining forces. We need to stop that device. Who's coming with me? 20 volunteers stepped forward, humans, Nexari, and other aliens who had joined their cause. They boarded the fastest ship available and raced toward Earth, pushing the engines beyond safe limits. Meanwhile, Alina contacted the best scientific minds from all species. They gathered in a virtual meeting, examining the weapons schematics found in the Mars-based computers. It's designed to create a gravitational singularity, explained a Nexari scientist, a controlled black hole that will collapse after destroying the planet. Can we deactivate it remotely? Elena asked. The scientists shook their heads. The control system is physically isolated. Someone must reach the core and disrupt the primary matrix manually. Marcus's ship entered Earth's atmosphere at dangerous speed, heading straight for the Pacific. Sensors located the device on the ocean floor near the Mariana Trench. As they approached, the water churned violently. Massive waves battered coastlines. The ground trembled continuously as the planet's very structure began to fail. The team deployed in specialized diving mechs designed to withstand extreme pressure. They descended through the turbulent water toward the massive alien device, a sphere half a mile wide, pulsing with energy that distorted the water around it. There's an access point on the southern quadrant, Marcus told his team as they approached. We need to get inside and reach the core. Council security drones guarded the entrance, but the team fought through them. Inside, they faced more resistance, automated defense systems, and a few loyal council troops left to protect the weapon. One by one, Marcus's team fell as they pushed deeper into the structure. By the time they reached the central chamber, only Marcus and 2 others remained, a human scientist and a Nexari warrior. In the center of the chamber floated the primary matrix, a swirling mass of energy growing more unstable by the minute. Around it, force fields prevented any approach. The controls are genetically locked to Council DNA, the scientist reported. We can't shut it down. Marcus studied the pulsing energy. Then we overload it. Make it implode rather than explode. He turned to his companions. Get back to the ship. I'll handle this. Despite their protests, Marcus ordered them to leave. Once alone, he drove his mech straight into the force field. Alarms blared as the mech's power core began to overload. Marcus aimed directly for the primary matrix. This is for Earth, he whispered, closing his eyes as the mech exploded. The weapon's energy collapsed inward instead of expanding outward. A massive implosion shook the ocean floor, creating a new deep trench but sparing the planet from destruction. 3 months later, Elena stood before the new Galactic Assembly. Representatives from Earth, former Council worlds, and previously subjugated species. She spoke of cooperation, of shared knowledge, and of justice. Today we establish the Reed Protocols, she announced, outlawing conquest and exploitation across all known space. The vote was unanimous. A new era had begun. Earth had survived, and in its retaliation had created a more just galaxy.